morning, y'all. It is Sunday morning and it's the day after my 10K. If you watched my last video, it was kind of like a hybrid between a weekly vlog and the fitness series. And in that, I took y'all on the journey of my 10K and how I felt and what to look forward to going forward. But yeah, this morning I'm just going out for a walk. I have no idea how many miles I'm going to do. I do want to probably walk to a coffee shop again. I thought it was pretty cool last Sunday. It's a tad bit humid. It's not super hot or anything out yet, which I'm thankful for. I have my hair down right now, but y'all already know this hair is going to end up going up because it gets hot. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Happy Sunday, good morning. Welcome to week 38. Oh, that's important for me to say. Welcome to week 38, y'all. 52, what's that, 4? We have about 14 more weeks left in this series. Wow. Yeah, so I'm gonna get some steps in, enjoy nature, and I'll see y'all along this journey somewhere. Okay, just checking in with y'all. I'm currently at 4.38 miles, a little over 11,000 steps. Well, it depends on what you look at. On my watch, I'm like a little over 11,000. On my ring, which I've had on since like I woke up, that's more at like 12,000 steps now. My goal is to get 5,000 like active miles in. So I'm close to that, and I guess I'll update you guys. It is getting pretty warm right here. Like, it's spicy. Sweating a little bit. The coffee was straight. Like, I'm a fan of Wild's coffee. It's good. I do want to expand my palate though. All I get are mochas. Like, I don't know coffee. I don't know ball. Okay? I don't know ball. So, I'm gonna work on that. Anyways, let's get these steps in. Good morning. No. It's not morning. Y'all, it is 1:07 p.m. There's a lot I want to say, but there's no point in saying it because I just said it in the last video. So if you did not watch the last video, please go watch the last video because it ends with me right here talking about this video. Not week 37, but it's the one that's in between. It's the one where I run my 10K. I am about to go run. I told y'all, you know, I just want to do a few miles here, a few miles there. And so the goal is for me to run 2 miles today. It doesn't have to be nonstop. It just has to get done. I'm gonna run it on the treadmill because again, it's already 1-something in the evening, which means it's so hot outside. I do plan to also do some core. I haven't done any isolated core since sometime last week. Probably do a few sets of pull-ups, maybe foam rolling, maybe stretching, maybe both. I don't know, we'll figure it out together once we get there, but yeah. I did weigh in at a new low. I forgot what day it was. It was recently. Let me see. All right, so it's not that much lower than the last time I told y'all, but it's 179.3. And I weighed in on the 12th, which would have been Friday. So yay to being in the 170s. Sorry, I'm looking at my messages. Okay, let's go get this work in. I actually want some caffeine, but like, that would mean I would have to brew some coffee, and I'm not doing all that. I want like some pre-workout. I want something to give me like jittery right now. I don't know what y'all beef with like beta-alanine. So basically beta-alanine is what gets you all itchy and like, you know, when you have the tingles and all that stuff when you take certain pre-workouts, especially like pre-workout powders. That's what beta-alanine does. I love beta-alanine. Lo and myself, we talk about it all the time. Like, we like to be like ready to scratch our faces up. Like, we like the tingle. Give us all the tingles. We don't like once our body has gotten used to a pre-workout and then there's no tingles. Like, we do it for the tingles, I think. And it's a mental thing. Like, if I have pre-workout, I typically have a better lift. But it's a mental thing. It's because I took it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's really just mental. I don't think it always actually assists me the way that I want it to assist me, or the way that I think is going to assist me. Sometimes it's just me. I don't know. But when y'all be like, y'all don't like all that, I be like, what you mean you don't like all that? Me and my homegirls love it. Anyways, y'all know I'm off of pre-workout right now for a little bit. I'm just drinking coffee, which I actually am dialing back on. When I had went in for the beginning of last year, technically at this point. Oh my goodness, almost a year ago. But okay, anyway, when I went in for my boobs and when they found like the lumps, they said also sometimes with having a high intake of caffeine can cause tissue to lump as well in the boobs. So just having that reminder, I need to chill out. Okay, I need to chill out with my caffeine some. Yeah, but let's go do the work that needs to be done. Yay! Grocery store, okay, and I'm not gonna do like a full-on grocery haul because a lot of what I have here is what I typically eat week to week, but I will point out a lot of the differences. So we'll start here with, normally I do eat ground turkey, but instead, what's going on with my hair? Instead, I'm going to make turkey burgers this week. So I'm using ground turkey. I just got a small pack of it. That's so crazy. This is good until September 26th. This is good until September 26th. Do we know what September 26th is? We should know what September 26th is now. September 26th is my birthday. Oh my goodness. Sorry, this like throwing me off. Okay, and then I have some provolone cheese to go on top. Yellow onion, sweet onion, one of the two. To actually put in the mix and to put on top, probably like some grilled onions on top of a turkey burger. Yes. Bell peppers. I have been loving bell peppers with like with air fried chicken. So I have 3 packs of chicken tenders this week, and I'm gonna pair that probably with rice. I have jasmine rice in my pantry from, I think, my last grocery store run. I don't know why I wanted it, because I've been liking the penne because the penne gives me a little bit of protein in it, as opposed to the rice. It's just mainly carbs. For fruit this week, I have, what is this? Oh my goodness. I have bananas, I have strawberries, I have oranges. Ooh, I love a cold orange. Oh my goodness. Oh, and some blueberries. Feta cheese, because I'm addicted to feta cheese now. All right, addicted is a bit much. I have to just stop throwing the word addicted out there. I'm obsessed right now with feta cheese. I don't even buy Mexican shredded cheese anymore because I've been just so hooked on feta cheese. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to hurry up. And then of course, chicken sausage. I have the andouille again. Not me liking Brussels sprouts now. Tiny little cabbages is whatever. I have been loving these, so I got some more, and I just got 1 pack of green beans this week. Then what else? I got 2 bags of these potato chips, 2 random things. So I have some yum yum sauce, and I have some Japanese barbecue sauce. Oh, sweet honey. So it's not just barbecue sauce. I'm not really a big fan of barbecue sauce alone. This is sweet honey Japanese barbecue sauce. I'm gonna mix the 2 of these together to make kind of like a dressing or a glaze, or I don't know, a sauce for the air fried chicken. I think this is like $120, I wanna say. I definitely don't think it's given $120. This is more like $94, but who am I? A new day, a new opportunity, so I want to take full advantage of it today. I just got done training my last client of the day. I'm about to eat a turkey burger. I had some left over from dinner last night that I made, so I'm going to eat one of those to fuel this workout. And I think today I'm going to do plyo. It's been like 3-ish weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. I really scaled back in a few different areas as I was approaching the 10K. So let's see how that goes. I am a little sore from my lip yesterday. What's going on? Mostly my glutes and my hamstrings some, but we're gonna push forward. I will of course do a full warm up. Also, so What am I gonna do at my steps? I think I'm gonna do plyo and then follow up with like maybe 20-30 minutes on the treadmill, because I think I'm gonna run back my walking pad today. Again, I have work to do, so I can edit, I can do different things from my desk, and that way I can still get my steps in, because that was so cool, like to literally just be doing what I need to do but also getting in steps. And I felt myself being more focused. If I'm sitting on my sofa, if I'm sitting in the bed trying to edit or do work, I get so distracted easily. Being up there, I was locked in, headphones on, y'all saw me, I was locked in. So I think I'm gonna run that back again today, and that's pretty much it. I'm hungry, so let's eat this turkey burger, and then I'll see you guys at the gym for plyo. It is Saturday and it's 10:13 p.m., which is a very odd time for me to be vlogging for the fitness series. I actually haven't vlogged in a few days. I have been in a vlogging slump, I guess, which is very weird because I rarely ever am in a slump when it comes to vlogging, especially for the fitness series, because it's literally just me talking about working out or giving tips or just whatever. But this week has been different, so let me catch you guys up. Wednesday, the last time I was on here, I was supposed to go do plyo. I did not do plyo. Let me tell you what happened. All right, so I was hungry, right? And I don't know if you guys experience this too. So if I'm hungry and I know that I can't work out, I need to like go eat, I'll go eat, and I tell myself like, you need time for your food to digest, so in the meantime, like do whatever I need to do, right? Well, I did whatever I had to do too much, and then I was hungry again. So I was like, well, I can't go now because I need to eat. Like it's like the same thing all over again. So like I need to go eat. So then I ate again, and then I was like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen today. And I wasn't too mad because I hadn't had an actual rest day in weeks. Every day has been either me lifting, me running, or me having like an active rest day where I still was on the treadmill on an incline walk for like 45 minutes or an hour, or I was outside walking. So I took a legit rest day. Like the only movement I got in was whatever I did in my apartment and like training my clients that day. That was it. Now at that moment, I thought it was a good idea, and I still don't know for sure if it was or wasn't to take a rest day. And the reason I say that is because Thursday I was so sore. I was so sore from my lift on Tuesday. I kind of think had I walked some, had I did some stretching, I would have maybe felt better on Thursday. I was so stiff. And so I did record my lift on Thursday, but I did not like the way it came out. I used a filter, like an ND filter. This one was like a vintage one. It's one that you can attach to your actual lens. I used that. I didn't necessarily love the way that the footage came out. So I did record. I don't really want to show you because I don't feel like it looks amazing. But that also led me to another thought that I had, which was, I get asked often about like, what camera am I using? And I know I've told you guys before, but I want to tell you again and then add something to it. So if I'm in the gym, typically I use my A7 III, my Sony A7 III. If I'm vlogging like how I am right now in my apartment, then I'm using a Sony ZV-E10. And if I am out running or going on like a long walk, then I use my Osmo Pocket. While the body of the camera does matter, the lens matters like just as much, if not more. If you have a great camera body but a crappy lens, it's going to show. It's absolutely going to show. It's going to show. So I highly recommend, even if you invest in the body, invest in the lens as well. They're both equally important. So I have an 85mm that I use. I have a 35mm. I have a 24-70 G Master, and on this camera I have I think it's a 15mm, and it's a G lens. And so there are levels. There are definitely levels to lenses, but I also just want to throw it out there because I get asked often about the camera that I'm using, but the lens matters as well. Okay, moving on. It was something else. Oh, but yeah, I was so sore, y'all. When I say it was hard for me to get through that lift, I was sore. Like even after like a really good warm up, I still was in pain. I was like, what is going on? Not pain, but you know, it was uncomfortable. And the best way to get through soreness is to still move. And typically that would look like maybe stretching or going for walks, still getting the blood to flow and to help with recovery. So that's why I said I don't know if it was a great thing to, of all days, of all times for me to take an actual rest day, it was that day. So yeah, Thursday that lift went well. Then on Friday, I just went for a walk because I had my 5K 5K, what am I talking about? I had my 10K on Saturday, and that was in the last video that I put out. It was a weekend vlog where it was like a little bit of lifestyle stuff, but mostly just about my 10K. So if you didn't watch that, you know, go tune in. This is a short video, so I kind of wanted to put on my coach's hat for just a second and like give some tips and whatnot out. You're taking the time to watch. I at least want to, you know, give you something to take with you. I think there was one other thing I wanted to mention before I go into that. So let me look really quickly. Y'all, I was in the mirror at the gym, right? And I was like, ooh, wee girl. So I want to insert this little clip from my lift today, which that whole lift will be in week 38. No, this is week 38. I think this is week 38. Is this week 38? It'll be in week 39 then. But this is week 38. Okay. My legs, like, I say this very humbly. I think since I began strength training, so that was like 2017, from then to now, like my legs have really shaped up nicely. Like they look good. Like I get compliments, you know, from time to time on how my legs look. But I think running has definitely taken them to the next level. I am in love with them. They just look so good in my opinion. And so I was taken aback. So I was like, ooh, those heels and the elevation and whatnot has definitely, it's been beneficial. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. Because I took some notes just so I wouldn't be all over the place. I can try to keep it together some because y'all know me. I wanted to give some workout tips. Now, mind you, there are always going to be exceptions for things. So while this stands to be true most of the time, there are times where things, they're going to be anomalies. They're going to be different situations. So just keep that in mind. Also, because of people's goals, things will vary as well. But in general, these are just like some guidelines and tools pretty much to help you build a program. So if you can't maybe afford, or maybe you just don't want to spend the money on a coach, or don't have the disposable income to purchase a plan, but you still want to be active in the gym, especially, this is specific to strength training. If you want to be active when it comes to strength training, then these could be some beneficial tips, and I would like to share them. This is pretty much like how I would suggest to build out a program. As always, please make sure you check with your physician prior to engaging in physical activity. Okay. This is just my tips as a professional in this field and things that I would have my clients to most likely do. But again, it all depends on their goals. There are so many different ways you can structure a program, right? It depends on your schedule. It depends on how much time you have to devote to training, whether that be how many days or how many hours within a day you have available to you. I'm just gonna kind of go with a few different examples. Again, it's gonna vary because all of our lives are a little bit different. So if you were to do like a upper lower program, so you train lower body one day, you train upper body one day, you rest, you train lower body, you train upper body again. So essentially you're strength training 4 times a week, twice would be lower body, twice would be upper body. This is what I would recommend. If you've been here a while, you know that I am a coach who believes strongly in training movement patterns and not training muscle group, because the general population is not a bodybuilder. We don't really need to look at muscle groups, more so movement patterns, because those mimic like the things we do on a daily basis. So just in case you're not familiar, movement patterns would be like squat, hinge, lunge, carry, push, pull, and I feel like I'm missing one. Those are movement patterns or things we do on an everyday basis. So if I were doing lower one day, I would do 3 to 4 hinge movements, and then 3 to 4 squat slash like lunge split squat movements. I personally recommend like 7 being like a sweet spot in my opinion. 8 is possible, but like, if you're really going at the intensity that you need to, I feel like 8 for lower body alone might be pushing it. Like if you're really going to the intensity that you need to, and that's what we're going to talk about also, intensity, because intensity does matter. But let's talk about this real quick. So this is what I would do. A compound lift, so some type of squat variation, like a hack squat, pendulum squat, V squat, back squat, barbell front squat, kettlebell rack squats. Those are going to be examples of compound movements, actual squats. And then if we're talking about for hinge, RDLs, trap bar deadlift, stiff leg deadlift, conventional deadlift if you like, hip thrust, sumo, kettlebell deadlifts. And I'm not naming every single one because there's so many different options, but these are just to give you an example. Those are going to be like your compound movements. And then I would follow that up with either like a unilateral movement or something that's not quite as intense. You can't quite go as heavy as you can on the movements I just suggested. So then something like a Bulgarian split squat. Mind you, y'all, there are so many variations of split squat. You don't have to do a Bulgarian split squat. I'm actually not a fan of those. There are so many variations. You can do a front foot elevated reverse lunge. You can do a front foot elevated split squat. You can do walking lunges. You can do regular reverse lunges. You can do deficit split squats. You can do a lateral lunge. You can do step ups. You can do lateral step ups. You can do single leg squat. There are so many single leg like lunge / split squat variations that you don't have to do a Bulgarian split squat. You can even do a rear foot elevated split squat that's not Bulgarian split squat. Like Bulgarian is, your leg is up there quite a distance, and most people need to start off with a lower elevation anyway. There's so many different options. On the hinge side of that, I would say like a B stance RDL, hip thrust if you did like a trap bar deadlift. So follow up with like a hip thrust, glute hypers, single leg hip thrust, RDL if you did like hip thrust as your main lift, single leg RDL. The list goes on, but like I'm just trying to give you examples. And then I will follow up lastly with like a true accessory movement. Something like a leg curl, leg extension, abductions, abductor, calf raises, kickbacks, kettlebell swings, something in there, and pick one for like a anterior and then one for posterior, if that makes sense. So essentially 3 to 4 of each. But I really feel like 7 is pretty good. I did 6 movements today. When I tell you my legs were shaking, they were shaking, especially doing my single leg hip thrust. But it all comes down to intensity. So I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to give you an example. So a compound, a unilateral movement, and then an accessory, and that can fluctuate just a little bit depending on what you choose as your compound. 3 for anterior, 3 for posterior, and like 1 extra thrown in there somewhere, or a second one, just make sure it's like an accessory movement. Oh, also, I'm not a huge fan of leg press, so it's rare that you'll see me do a leg press. I just feel like they're really tough on the knees, and I would never consider that to be my compound lift, even though it is a compound lift, because it does target more than one muscle group. But it's just not a favorite of mine. But do as you will, do as you want. All right, let's talk about upper now. Typically there's like, it changes because there's different studies. Some say a 3 to 1 ratio, some say a 2 to 1 ratio. So for every 2 pull movements to do 1 push, for every 3 pull movements to do 1 push. It's up in the air. I've seen articles both ways, so it's up to you. But here are some examples of some horizontal pulls. So inverted rows, single arm dumbbell rows, seated rows. You can also do like single arm seated rows, like with the cable machine, phase pulls. I don't know what that says. I thought I had some more on this page, I guess not. But then you can also have some vertical pulls, which would be like pull-ups, lat pull downs, straight arm pull downs, single arm lat pull downs. There's so many variations of rows to do, but just make sure you're including both vertical and horizontal and not overdoing one more than the other. The other thing would be pushes. So you could have so many different types of bench. You could do dumbbell, you could do barbell, you could do shoulder press, you can do kneeling shoulder press, single arm, or you can do both arms dual. Push-ups, of course. Same thing here, just making sure you hit both vertical and horizontal. And the same thing that I said about lower body, you want to apply to upper body. So you want to hit those compound movements first. So a lat pull down is a compound movement. Most rows are considered compound movements. Which you wouldn't typically want to do first are like bicep curls or tricep extensions. I wouldn't even do like a lateral raise first. Like you want to do the more intense movements, the ones that are hitting multiple muscle groups, instead of isolated movements like bicep curls, like I just said, or tricep extensions. And I think personally, if you are going to include a isolated movement, so just choose one of each. I think the rest of the workout should be focused on the more difficult movements, the ones that require more strength, the ones that require more engagement, and then just have one of those, like one tricep specific movement, one bicep specific, if you're even going to have them in there, because they all work while you're doing the other movements. They're just not isolated, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, moving right along, because I don't want this to be too long. I just want to give you some things to think about. I also see a lot of talk often about training to failure. Most people cannot and should not train to failure every single set of every single movement. That is crazy. That is like an easy way to get injured. That is an easy way to overtrain. And most people just simply can't do it. You can't recover from doing that. Now, there is a time and place to train to failure. We'll talk about that in a second. These are the typical guidelines, but again, this can vary person to person and depend on your goals. But typically 1 to 6 reps, the range for strength. 6 to 12 is more so for hypertrophy, and hypertrophy is like adding muscle mass. And then 12 or 15, 12, 15-ish up to like 20 is typically for muscular endurance, but there are a lot of gray areas in between there. And there's a lot of times where you can do different ranges within one program, if that makes sense. Like if your goal is to put on muscle mass, that doesn't mean you have to do 4 sets of 8. I see that so often, 4 sets of 8, 4 sets of 10. You don't have to do 4 sets for everything. On your more difficult movements, like your compound ones, I would definitely say 4. Sometimes 5 or 6 is necessary if you're training for strength. It just depends. And sometimes you only maybe need 2 sets if you're doing like an accessory movement. It doesn't always have to be 4 sets, and it doesn't always have to be 8 or 10 reps. There's definitely some fluctuation in there and some variety that you can include. It does get a little stickier because I'm giving you a general overview, and I know your question could be like, well, when do I do what? If that's something you're interested in, I can definitely have a video and talk more into it, but I just want to give you a general layout. Also, your intensity matters so much. So like, let's say you're doing a set of 10, right? And your goal is to increase your muscle mass. Let's say you're doing goblet squats, okay? Kettlebell goblet squats, you're going for 10 reps and you're using 25, but you could realistically use 50 pounds. At 25 pounds, you're not at the intensity you need to have the type of stimulation that you need. You want to be closer to your max. You want to be somewhere between like 67, they say, and 85% of your 1 rep max. And I know that's difficult to determine, especially you're not going to go around determining your 1 rep max for every single movement, but you want it to be more of a struggle. And the general rule is you want to leave 2 reps in reserve. So let's just say you are going to do 4 sets. The first 3 sets, you want to maybe have only been able to do 1 or 2 more reps. Your last set, if you're going to train to failure, I would say let it be on that set. Let your last set be the one where you're going to really push it to failure with good form. Also, when you go up in weight, that's something you have to be able to determine too. If you did a set of 10 reps of kettlebell goblet squats, but you knew you could have did 5 more, the weight probably isn't heavy enough. And this is if your goal is hypertrophy. If you could have did 5 more, why are you wasting your time with that weight? If you don't go up, it's all about progressive overload. So that's something to think about. If you can do more than 2 reps, you probably should have went up. You probably should have. There are a lot of gray areas in here. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to take responsibility for and kind of feel out, kind of get the hang for, and also to try to push yourself and challenge yourself. If it's easy, you probably ain't doing too much. You probably ain't giving your body the stimulus it needs. Also, this is kind of random, but it is a good idea to rest in between sides. So let's say you're doing like split squats. Although 1 foot is doing most of the work because it's leading, is in the front, it's the one you're really pushing through the heel with to ascend, the other leg is simultaneously being worked, just not in the same capacity as the other one, but there's still some type of transfer of stimulation. Like that leg is still being worked to some degree. So sometimes it is okay to take a short like rest in between the two because the other limb is still in fact impacted to a certain extent. Also, it is important to try to start with your weaker side if you have identified a weaker side. And I'm actually going to speak more about that in week 39 because I noticed today when I was doing front foot elevated reverse lunges, and I'll just talk about it there so you can actually see it in real time of what I mean. But if you identify a weaker side, it's typically best to do that side first so that it's not fatigued from doing the other side, if that makes sense, because it won't be like super fatigued, but it will still be used. There still will be some type of recruitment needed from it, if that makes sense. Actually, that might be it. That probably was pretty long, and I know it was kind of quick because I didn't want to go in super detail if y'all didn't even want that, but I did want to provide some type of insights. In case anyone is new here, just to throw it out here, I have been in this field since 2016. I got certified as a trainer, as a personal trainer in 2017, and then in 2023 I got certified as a strength and conditioning coach through, oh my goodness, as a strength and conditioning coach through NSCA, and which is one of the most difficult certifications to obtain. If you were here when I was studying for that, you know your girl was stressed. It was a lot. So not only do I have the experience firsthand from my own journey, even now, because things have changed. I've entered my 30s. I've talked about it plenty of times. I won't go into details, but it's different than trying to maintain a physique or to drop body fat at this age than it has been previously. So I know from my experience with myself, I know from my experience with working with so many women over the years, and I know from my education as well, just in case anybody's wondering like what is giving me the, I guess, why do I feel like I can speak on this? That's why. And humbly, I know my stuff. I know my stuff. I'm always a student to the game, always willing to learn, always taking other courses and reading articles and whatnot. So I just want to share that with you guys. I hope you take something from it. If you have any questions per usual, please do not hesitate to leave them down below. This is week 37, I think. No, this is week 38. I think this might be week 38. I should probably look. Let me see. Yes, this is week 38. Wow. Okay. I just want to make sure there was nothing else I wanted to talk about. Intensity matters. Rep range matters. Number of sets do matter. You don't have to train to failure every single set. That's wild. If you can do 2 or more reps, which means you probably could go up in weight. Oh, I didn't even talk about the other ways to do a program other than upper and lower. It doesn't really matter. Like, you just don't. 10 movements, 12 movements is wild. It's really wild. Like, you don't need that many movements per session to get in a really good workout. It's all about the work you put into each and every rep, each and every set. Like, it matters. And if you can do 10 movements, I would hope or think maybe you're doing full body. That's the only way I can kind of see how that would work. If you're just doing like arms or you're just doing chest and you did 10 different movements, there's no way you were pushing the way you need to, because ain't no way. So just make sure you're giving your all. Rest and recovery matters. Rest between sets matter. Make sure you're taking sufficient but not too long of rest. Don't get hooked on that phone for 5 minutes between your sets unless you are like powerlifting or going for like 1 rep maxes. Then you might need about a 3-minute, 5-minute, 2-minute rest, just depending. I keep talking and said I wasn't gonna talk anymore. Okay, if something was on my lip, my bad. I hope you guys have a great day when this comes out. It's like 2 days late, my bad. There's so much stuff going on in this world, as y'all know. Like, I needed some rest. Tonight has been absolutely amazing. I don't care about this, I know. But tonight has been absolutely amazing. I bought a coloring book. I was in here coloring. I had gospel music playing with like a nice scenery on my TV. And I just needed to step away from everything. And that was so refreshing. I'm about to go to bed though. I'm about to go to bed though. And I'll edit this tomorrow and hopefully it will come out tomorrow on Sunday. If not, it'll come out on Monday. If not, it'll come out on Tuesday. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I love y'all so much. If any questions, just let me know. I'm wishing you guys so much success on your journey, whether you're running, strength training, doing both, or whatever it looks like. Keep going. Keep investing in yourself. Keep showing up. Keep taking up space. Be kind to yourself. Drink your water. Try to mind your business. I'll see y'all in week 39. Yeah.